Okay, today we're going to talk about some common issues with a Ryobi 705R weed whacker or strimmer. It's a 30cc petrol strimmer, and I've just been fixing a couple of issues that this particular one had. So the first issue we dealt with was down here. We had a couple of hoses. There's this one here and this one here. This one here goes from the bulb, and it's actually the line, it's a vacuum line back to the carburetor, which is under this cover. So if you take this cover off, that goes back to the top of the carb, and that one there had a number of holes in it at the carburetor end, so the carburetor would not prime. And then this one here is connected to the back of the priming bulb, and then it's inserted into a hole up into the tank. Now this one pressurizes the tank when you prime and forces fuel down this other one at the back round onto the carburetor. But if any of the three have holes, you either get no fuel coming out of the carb back to the priming bulb, and then hence no fuel flow through the carb during priming, and then it won't start, or you won't draw. You'll get a fuel leak from either the one at the rear or the one at the bottom. You'll get fuel leaks there, which is what I had, and I also had lack of vacuum, so we couldn't start. Problem number two, once I got the strimmer running, I found that it would not idle at the correct speed. Despite using this idle speed screw here, I had the cover off at the time, I could see that it would not idle correctly. And the reason for that will become more clear when I take this cover back off again. What I found was that this cable housing here, which runs under this rubber cover, had been pushed right up here at one point, all the way back down, and it meant that this wasn't returning in this nice springy way, but also inside here it wasn't reaching the stop. So I'll take the cover off again now, and then we can have a look at that in a bit more detail. So now I've got the cover off, we can see that here is the throttle arm, and you can see that when you throttle forward it goes that way, and when it comes back it's got a nice click, positive stop against that screw. Now what was happening before, with the cable housing pulled out of the way at the front, this was just hovering here, because when the housing is deflected, it's like the throttle lever is being pulled. So by relieving the housing run, this suddenly went bing back against this stop, and I was able to adjust that throttle stop to give me a nice tick over. So now hopefully, if I can prop this up, I will be able to show you it's starting now. I've got it on part on this particular model. Full choke is over on that side, where you can see just the small hole available for air, and then when you pop it like that, you've got a small bit open, and then normal running is like that with it fully open. Obviously normally there's an air filter on top of there. Now I don't know whether I'm going to need this or this. I did have it running for a little while and throttled it up, but let's see how we get on. Now before I do that, the only remaining problem I found is currently this start and stop switch is not currently functional. So it'll start on start, and it'll also start on stop, which also means it will not stop on stop. So currently I've had to employ the technique of pulling the cap off the spark plug. So if I pop that back on, which with one hand isn't particularly easy, so that should be on enough. Put it on start for the sake of correctness, and then we'll see if it'll start. Don't try this at home. Okay, well now I've got it started. I think all it was is I flooded it but now you can see it's idling nicely, and when I throttle it up, there's no stutter. As soon as I apply the throttle, small stutter but no stall, and when you throttle down again, no stall. That's possible. It might need to be a tad richer idle just to help with that little stutter at the start, but that's a minor thing I'll be able to deal with over time. That's all for today.